I got two things again.
Oh. All right. Let's show us what's in the box. Top secret.
First one is for Grizz.
Oh.
What?
Hang on. What do we got?
Keep going, though, man. You're doing good. Yes! Dude, you punched the fuck out of that, man. Holy fucking shit! So good. Yo, Captain Pear.
I didn't know what was going on there.
Man. Fucking got him.
Fucking got him, dude.
Holy shit. Dude, good game. Fucking good game. Are you ready? I knew it!
Cap, look at my fish.
Oh, wow.
It's my little buddy. Ready? Bitch.
Always steal those kisses from you.
Always have to steal those kisses from you. Always have to steal those kisses from you.
Always have to steal my kisses from you.
I got two things again.
Oh. All right. Let's show us what's in the box. Top secret.
First one is for Grizz.
Oh.
What?
Hang on. What do we got?
Keep going, though, man. You're doing good. Yes! Dude, you punched the fuck out of that, man. Holy fucking shit! So good. Yo, Captain Pear.
I didn't know what was going on there.
Man. Fucking got him.
Fucking got him, dude.
Holy shit. Dude, good game. Fucking good game. Are you ready? I knew it!
Cap, look at my fish.
Oh, wow.
It's my little buddy. Ready? Bitch.
Always have to steal those kisses from you.
Always have to steal those kisses from you. Always have to steal those kisses from you.
Always have to steal my kisses from you.
I got two things again.
Oh. All right. Let's show us what's in the box. Top secret.
First one is for Grizz.
Oh.
What?
Hang on. What do we got?
Keep going, though, man. You're doing good. Yes! Dude, you punched the fuck out of that, man. Holy fucking shit! So good. Yo, Captain Pear.
I didn't know what was going on there.
Man. Fucking got him.
Fucking got him, dude.
Holy shit. Dude, good game. Fucking good game. Are you ready? I knew it!
Cap, look at my fish.
Oh, wow.
It's my little buddy. Ready? Bitch.
Always have to steal those kisses from you.
Always have to steal those
have to steal my kisses from you. Always have to steal my kisses from you.
I got two things again. We're live.
Hi.
Hello,
How you doing?
Habibis. G'day, Red, Honey, Caging, Eric, Captain Perth,
How the freaks are going?
Fluke.
Go.
What's
Fluke,
up?
Runt, Honey, Inked, Eric, Stream Elements chatbot.
We're alive.
How we doing? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. We did. We sure did. I'll tell you all about it shortly.
I've actually had a big day. I might tell everyone on that episode.
I do
as well.
get very serious when I'm drunk, honey. Very serious. A serious business.
What was I doing?
Very serious.
The heck was I doing?
Are
Probably.
you going to jump into the how was your weekend chat, are you, Pavo?
I can do a how was my day because I had a big day.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Tell me
I'll
about
ask
it.
you
Pat.
first.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, dude. Pav lost his job. Full-time content
I
creator.
did.
Let's go.
Yep, let's do it. Oh my god,
Dude,
I'm trying
Mrs.
to-
made me
Yeah.
a sausage and tomato. What was it? It was like a fucking stroganoff. I don't know.
Thumbnail.
Something pretty good.
That was probably the funniest caging comment I've
I
ever
should have
seen.
photoshopped fucking Pav's head on the rock. That would be great.
And you guys had the respawn thing this Saturday.
Well,
don't
I'm-
think I will be actually.
I might make it in.
What's the
I
reason?
say
I don't
that-
even know what it is. What is it?
Respawn's like a local like gaming sort of event that has
Grizz.
it's a gaming clubbing event. So
Don't you like gaming or something, mate?
party
Love
DJs, TVs with
Superstar
video
DJ.
games all around the room, and like a Just Dance thing outside. It's good fun. It's good fun, and I'm not saying that because it's in my contract.
In all honesty, I probably won't be able to make it because I can't be around loud noises at the moment.
Yeah, very fair. Yeah, this is.
Cap, turn your headphones right up, mate.
Fuck off.
Got him.
But yes, Fluke, I will absolutely be there. I'm hosting the cosplay competition at 12 o'clock, which is always an absolute delight.
Should we kick it? Kick it in the
Let's
grizzled titties?
get it started.
Go on.
I didn't put a
Get in
timer
there,
on.
fucking son.
Where's my timer?
I need to get my stopwatch going. So I can keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the time.
More run sheet this time, boys. Woohoo!
Beautiful.
I actually think
run
this one's going to
sheet.
be all right to get through. It's not gonna be like last
Beautiful
year.
run sheet. It's what I
Yeah,
like.
it's the winner, mate.
Ooh.
Freaking easy. It's not like 20 fucking kilometers long.
Easy Bugattis.
All right. I'm gonna start the
Serious business, honey. All right. Serious.
intro starting. 5, 4, 3.
G'day. Welcome to Oceanic Gaming Radio. Come and join us. Come and dip your toes in the ocean that is gaming. We want a thing or two, whisper in your ear kind of thing. Guys, good to see you. Pavo, Grizzo, thank you for joining me. How are we? Give me a rundown.
Buddy.
How you been? Pav, you start, mate.
All right. So I kind of teased it just before we got started, but I've had a huge day, fellas.
Massive.
A monstrous day.
Tell me
I
about it, Pat. What happened?
I have finally managed to pick up my keys for my new house.
Hey!
Woohoo!
The new
Yeah,
OGR
boy.
studio, Pav.
Yeah.
Surely, mate.
OGR
surely.
Can't wait to fucking
headquarters.
trash it.
OGI HQ.
Dude, hell yeah. Dude, we are absolutely recording an episode there one day.
Absolutely. We'll have a dedicated studio for podcasting in that house. It's going to be absolutely. Dude, I just can't wait.
Have you got a move-in date yet, Pav?
Well, I can move in whenever I want. I've got a few things to do before I'm gonna start like shifting everything over. But probably within the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna start like moving over a few small things, but I still got to paint and do all that.
Homeowner Pav over here.
Yeah.
That's it, man. Congrats! Finally, we've been talking about your build for ages, man. So
Dude,
it's so good.
It's long.
It is closing in on almost 2 years in the process. Yeah. It's mental.
Holy shit. Yeah, it's
anything special in the building design that comes down to content creation. Pav, did you like put any fucking double glazed doors or
sex
anything
dungeon?
Like
that? We don't talk about that on this streaming service.
Not a weird one. It's a basement, so we just call it the
No. Not as much as I would have liked to, of course, because I'm on a very tight budget. But I've my living area is built for cooking streams. That was literally built around the idea of like doing cooking content, and like that's something like I'm the most excited for outside of podcast. So I'm really stoked to like get stuck in.
Yeah, dude.
I'm gonna have you guys over for dinner as well, and we're gonna cook up.
Keen, mate. Absolutely keen.
Oh yeah,
boys. I just want to say big congratulations to both of you. This is our 20th episode, boys.
Yeah.
Did you think we would make it this far? 20 big ones.
Honestly, no.
No,
of course I did. Well, here's to 30 more and we'll get to 50, and that'll pretty much be a year of content creation at that point.
So what are we committing to at the big 5-0, boys? What is happening at the 5-0?
Pav shows us what's in the other box.
Ooh, la la. The dungeon.
No, my house.
What is that massive?
Hell yeah. Well, that'll be good. Yeah, well, look, we won't commit to anything now, but I'm sure we can. Maybe we just do an IRL stream. We make that one the one.
If we haven't already done an IRL stream by then, that'll probably be it, I reckon.
Yeah,
I think that's a perfect timing as well, because I'll have.
That is 30 weeks. That's like half a year, more than half a year away.
Dude, I'll have a baby by then.
Oh my god, yeah, baby Kappa.
Nuts. Fucking nuts.
Crazy.
All right. Well, Grizz, what about you, mate? What was your weekend? What did your weekend look like? Actually, I know what your weekend looked like.
Yeah, dude. So this is cool, right? The highlight of my weekend, me and Cap got to see each other again, but we went to a gig. My brother, you may have seen him around. His name was Noodle Cookie on Twitch.tv. Plays in a Tool cover band or a Tool tribute band. Please go check it on Facebook and go and give them a follow. They're called Arizona Bayswater, and they had an absolutely cracking show on Friday night, Cap.
Dude, it was actually fucking phenomenal. Like, I've got to be honest, when it comes to tribute acts, I mean, apart from you guys, obviously, Grizz, you guys are fucking awesome. But when it comes to tribute acts, you never really know what you're going to get, right? And especially a band like Tool. And if you never listen to Tool, like, it's fairly intricate, and they got some pretty funky time signatures here and there, and the singing is unique, I guess, not super unique, but it's just it's difficult to pull off. Like it's
one of the impossible bands to cover, man. And Danny Carey on drums is just like an absolute animal. But everything, you've got the timing signatures just make it impossible to cover. So that they sold this show out, Cap. They sold this show out 500 tickets.
They did.
Debut show and absolutely nailed it. So if you are from Perth, they have another show lined up in September. If you go on their Facebook page, you'll be able to. We'll be there. Yeah,
I'll be wearing earplugs this time though.
Yeah. Well, tell me about this, Cap. Tell me about this, mate. What?
So, all right, Mikey's going to be listening to this. Mikey, turn your fucking bass amp down, mate. You fucked me eardrums. So, Saturday, I woke up and I felt fine. In all honesty. And towards the end of the day, I'm like, what the fuck is this ringing in my ear? This is fucked. And so over the whole, it's kind of like, if you can imagine, when you go through like a pressure change and your ears pop and then you get that noise afterwards and then it kind of dissipates, like that ring. It's kind of like that, just constant.
Is it one ear, Cap, or is it both?
It's both. Oh, I think the left's a little bit worse, maybe by a touch. But Yeah, so I had to go to see the doctor today because it won't fucking go away. And then
Turn
as
that dang music down, you dang
dang music down. Yeah, you and your dang new age bands. But anyway,
nice.
so I started talking to people about it, like my dad and like a couple of guys at work, and then now I found out that like everyone just seems to have tinnitus.
That's bad.
Everyone's just like, oh yeah, I've got that. And I'm like, how have you not seen a doctor? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Dude, I hope you're okay. The good thing about it is a lot of those like ear injuries and stuff, it's all to do with like the fucking hairs in your ear, and they usually just recover and you're fine. But at our age, you got to take it pretty seriously, don't we, Capo?
Absolutely. So basically, I've never had an issue like this before. So it's going to be getting those special in-ear earplugs that kind of help to heavily reduce the inbound kind of sound, I guess, and just looking after my ear health, I guess, going forward. So I've been pretty good over my life. So to have this happen is a little bit random, but it happens, and everyone's slightly different. So there you go.
Just on the note of seeing the doctor before we jump into this episode, Cap. In the last couple of weeks, mate, I've been making a real conscious effort to do those health things that I've been putting off for a while. So I went and saw a chiro. I've got the dentist booked in for Wednesday, and more importantly, I've got a skin check, a cancer skin check. Cap,
I need to go and get my skin checked, dude.
Absolutely,
I used to do them almost every year,
Yeah.
but then I got fat and self-conscious, and so I didn't go. But now I don't give a fuck because I've hit the point where I'm just like, it's fine. Let it all hang out, baby. Who cares?
Yeah, that's it, mate. Dad bods, mate. That's why they call them dad bods. Every dad's got them. You got a baby coming in October, so you've got the pass, mate. Yeah,
exactly right. I especially now I especially don't care, mate, because once the kids hit, mate, you just go fuck whatever, mate. I don't give a shit. But yeah. So look, sounds fucking wonderful. Now I'm just trying to think if we did anything else over the weekend, Chris. We played a little bit of Dota. That was about it, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I will say that I'm not drinking, which is why I'm not coming on Saturday, Pav. This is 3 weekends in a row. I've been belligerently drunk and home after 12 o'clock. For a 35-year-old man, I just can't keep doing this. I'm quitting.
Boy, are you fucking belligerent when you're drunk, mate.
That's
you're
right.
obnoxious.
Yeah.
No,
I do turn into a bit of a fucking wanker. I know I do. I will say that.
No,
across this line, just need to.
I don't know. I'm able to tame you, mate.
I don't know. I quite enjoy it.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, I forgot to start my timer, so I have no idea how long we are into the podcast. But anyways, we're going to start with a few of our wonderful, what's that? 8 minutes? Okay, cool. We're 8 minutes in, so we're going to jump into today's tuning. What do you call that shit? I can't think of it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, guys. Firstly, thank you for joining us. If you're listening to us live from Twitch, thank you for being here. If you'd like to be watching us live on Twitch, you can do so every Monday from 7 p.m. Australian Western Standard Time. What's that in other time zones? Don't know. I'm telling you about the only one that matters, so get it in here. What have we got today? A lot. Well, not as much as last week. Got a fair bit, though. Got a fair bit. So I'm going to be talking to you guys a bit about E3 and what to expect in the future. We're going to be going back and check the Devolver Digital Showcase, which we didn't get a chance to really tease out. There's some really cool shit that they announced. So I was a bit sad we couldn't bundle that in with last week's episode, but it was a chonker, and Pav put the fucking iron fist down as soon as we got to an hour, fucking 30 minutes. So
you shall not talk about Devolver Digital today.
Thou shall not extend the episode. So that's not happening again. So we can't do that all that often. So so anyways, we're going to be talking about Devolver Digital and all the stuff that they announced. Now, if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan, God, you are going to be creaming yourself. God damn, was there some shit announced. Holy shit. So that's pretty exciting. Looking pretty cool. So a lot of stuff to talk about there. A lot of Bethesda's Starfield, the new Starfield game. A lot of details slowly starting to leak out of the leaky boat that is Bethesda about that game. So we'll be discussing some of the things that we've heard over the week and what we think about those things. We're going to be talking about the poll and a bunch of quickfire stuff. But before we do that, I just want to thank all of our wonderful Patreons. You guys fucking rock. Thank you for supporting this freaking podcast financially. We need it. But no, honestly, thank you so much to Sukai, Moosey, Ho and Honey, Caging Runt, and Sergeant Paul. You guys are freaking excellent. Very cool. All right. Now, without further ado, let's jump into our first news story for this week, being the week of the 20th of June, 2022. E3, Grizz, is set to return as a physical and digital show. Sounds like, according to the ESA president and CEO Stan Luis said, as much as we love digital events and as much as they reach people, we want that global reach, and we want some really strong desire to convene with people, IRL.
Love it,
but
Cap. I love it, mate.
Yeah, so sounding like they've probably seen how successful Summer Games Fest has kind of peaked in their place. They're going, hang on a second, mate, we'll just off for a year. Can't be taking that.
This is off the back of, if you didn't know this, guys, that E3 was supposed to be held 2022. It was cancelled because of the pandemic. And
Correct.
then it was held digitally, I believe, for 2020 and 2021. Didn't quite hit the mark on those. So, yeah, we'll see. I think this is pretty cool, Cap. My take on this is it sounds like they're going to be having an in-person part of this as well as a digital part.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Summer Games kind of had a little bit of an in-person thing, but it wasn't as big as a draw card. Obviously, normally E3 was kind of like a big melting pot of games journalists and developers, and it was a good way for a lot of people to network and catch up every year. So to not have that because of COVID, obviously, people like to mingle and all that kind of stuff, and obviously make those relationships. And so to be able to have this kind of thing going forward, I think is great, but will as to the former glory that E3 once was, Grizz.
Well, Cap, it's interesting what you said at the start here, saying that Summer Games Fest was good, because I think that Summer Game Fest and Old Keeley tried to really capitalize in the absence of E3, but I don't reckon it was that successful. I think it kind of was, but I feel like there was a lot of people that didn't give their games to Keeley to present, and that's mainly because they had their own showcases, etc.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think E3 is going to go either one of two ways. It's going to.
I'm sure if Jeff Keighley was in this room right now, he would argue that he would be calling it Summer Games Fest season, and that those other showcases were part of the Summer Games Fest conglomerate. So you might argue that the festival showcase itself wasn't as highlightable and didn't have as good quality stuff. I mean, we had Last of Us Part 1 remake. So
that was the whole thing for the.
I mean, that's pretty much the main thing, right? I mean, but the other thing is, Grizz, like, what did we have last time? We had the first gameplay reveal for Elden Ring.
Yeah,
how do you even compare? I was really hoping we might get a bit of DLC or some kind of
imagine if there was DLC there, mate. Jeez, would be.
Well, that's what I mean, dude. It'd probably be. Do you know what? I tell you right now, if we got that DLC, it would have been a very, very different Summer Games Fest, in my opinion. I think a big calling card like that it would have been a game changer for a lot of people. Games, but yeah. So,
Pep, what are your thoughts, mate? Do you think this E3 is gonna shit the bed again, fourth year running, mate, or do you think it's going to?
I think. I don't know for sure, but I do think that maybe E3 bloated over the years, probably had a very big management team and team sort of managing the individual aspects of E3, probably was quite costly to put on. And so then when they suddenly had all these developers and games companies sort of pull out, I'm sure it would have been a bleeding wound of money just financially leaking from the system. But honestly, mate, I think if they can clean up that, again, I don't know for sure if that's the case, but I'm positive there would be a component of that. If they can get that shit sorted,
they're going to be direct competing with Summer Games Fest now, right? Like this, usually the E3 runs at a various time, doesn't it?
I think E3. Oh, that's a very good question. Maybe someone in chat might be able to tell us when the last E3 was in terms of month. I vaguely remember being around July, but maybe it was June. But you're right. I mean, they kind of
whoever it is, they're not going to want to announce. It's going to be one or the other. I see it. It's being one or the other.
The only thing is, maybe they start going. It's a good point, because now, like, okay, let's just say that they do broadcast around about the same time, right? Now, all of a sudden, Summer Games Fest and E3 are going to be vying for developers to release their announcements in their things. So it's going to be like a bit of a battle. especially if they're at the same time. It's going to be quite interesting, depending on if it does go ahead. Even I mean, at this stage, we had E3 promised for this year, and it fell through. So I think, or maybe that was last year.
Do you ever want to go to a physical event, Cap, an E3 event?
I've always wanted to go to an E3. Always wanted to go to an E3. But I mean,
maybe it's something that when OGR can get sponsored and sent to E3, and we can do a live panel discussion. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, mate. Well, if we get a few more Patreons on the Patreon, perhaps we might be able to pay Treon for a few flight tickets over to the US of A.
Live from E3.
So yeah, just a little.
Maybe that's an episode 100 goal. That gives us a full year. Episode 100 is a full year away.
Easy, mate. We'll have heaps of cash by then. We'll be living in our manors and all kinds of shit. Be fucking easy. But yeah, so no, it'll be interesting to see what happens next year, Grizz. Do I believe that E3 will definitely be back next year? Honestly, anything can fucking happen. We might have COVID version 2 by then.
True, mate.
Fucking touch
true.
wood. Fucking don't want that shit. But
it'll be called something else, like I don't know.
Russell.
Monkeypox.
Russell Croven. All right. Anyways, moving along. So yeah, there you go. E3 sort of, probably back next year. So yeah.
Woo.
But look, Grizz, one thing I wanted to sort of go back over this week, because we didn't get a chance to do it last week.
Yes,
and I was quite saddened by that fact, because there's some pretty cool shit that was announced by these guys. The indie producer darlings that are Devolver Digital continually put out these really fucking indie games that just sort of really push the barrier, and they're always really good quality as well. These are the guys that did Fall Guys and Death's Door, did Loop Hero, Inscription as well, which was a really cool card game.
We have a lot to say positively about Devolver Digital, Cap. I don't think there's ever been a bad word said about them on this podcast.
No, absolutely
just the way
not.
that they manage their PR as well, dude, and manage the release of these games is always something that I admire as well.
I also get the vibe that they look after the companies that they're kind of under their arms. You know what I mean? So I just think they're a really good company, and I just appreciate everything they do. So really wanted to go back over the Devolver Digital showcase that they had recently. So
I just wanted to quickly apologize to you listeners out there. Unfortunately, we do not have the little gameplay videos on this particular potty today. They were causing some audio issues. So
at least we believe. So hopefully maybe the audio issues won't be on this podcast this week. But you may have noticed them last week, but we think it might be a network capacity issue for old Pavelarch, who's doing all the producing. But yeah, anyways, bit of technical jargon for you. But Grizz, moving along. Cult of the Lamb, very interesting looking game. Kind of has like a bit of a almost a a Binding of Isaac kind of art style esque-ish.
Looks fucking hilarious.
Looks very interesting. So I'm just going to read a blurb from the Steam store. Cult of the Lamb casts players in the role of a possessed lamb saved from annihilation by an ominous stranger and must repay their debt by building a loyal following in their name. Start your own lamb cult in the land of false prophets, venturing out into diverse and mysterious regions to build a loyal community of woodland worshippers and spread your word to become the true cult. So it's kind of weird, Grizz. It kind of looks like you get visitors that join your cult, and then you use them to build structures and summon like deities that you then kill to become the Omega, like kind of Cthulhu lamb thing. And it looks pretty rad, dude.
The art style is awesome in it, man. It's very cutesy. It's weird because it's like cutesy but ominous as fuck. They've done a real good job with it for sure.
Cutesy, bit grim, but yeah, it looks really, really cool. So looks like you can sort of to collect resources to build structures, lots of exploration with a randomly generated world, according to the blurb here. Fighting off hordes of enemies and defeat rival cult leaders in order to absorb their power and assert your cult's dominance. Train your flock and embark on a quest to explore and discover the secrets of the four mysterious regions.
Just watching the trailer as you're saying this, Cap, and it looks very interesting because it looks like there's RTS kind of moments where you're doing farming and building and base management, and then I'm seeing bits of literal action RPG where you're swinging your sword and fighting bosses and dodging attacks. So
it kind of looks to me, Grizz, like maybe you've got that RTS base building thing going on, and then you also have a dungeon crawler aspect where you're getting these resources, at least just from what I can see, which I'm going to tell you what, Grizz, it kind of looks, it looks really freaking cool. It's almost like one of those diorama boxes, but in the style of Isaac, and your character's kind of in the box and you're kind of looking down into the diorama box. It looks really cool.
I love games that have like multiple little genres within them. One that jumps to mind, Cap, is Stardew Valley, where it's a farming simulator game, but then you can get into the mine, and then it turns into this kind of like a little, you attack things and collect things, almost like a bit of an action RPG. So it looks pretty cool, man. I think, I think this would be a lot of fun.
On the topic of games like that, what about It Takes Two? I mean, they just about bridged every genre.
Very true. They did, mate, and they did it so freaking well. Could you imagine being a game dev for that? Like,
dude.
Jim, you go. Well, I wonder how many people were on that dev team, because the different genres in that were just so spot on.
Just and even like, Overarching had that kind of platformer thing going on, and then they kind of blend into these little moments of a different genre, which I really appreciated it, because you kind of had that kind of thing going on here and there, and I suppose just the constant kind of platforming with you and your mate, and then you all of a sudden you're being like a side-by-side fighting game, and it was just cool. Really cool. And then your mate's driving the plane that you guys are fighting on. It's just, if you guys,
there's a Diablo section, dude, where we're like, there's a top down like section as well. Very good.
So cool, man. Everyone at home, if you haven't had a chance to play that game, honestly, you got to give it a crack. It can be a little bit cringy here and there with some of the story, but for the most part, I think it's really nicely heartfelt, and I just think the way that they implemented a lot of that. But look, anyways, we are talking about Cult of the Lamb here, but so very interesting looking game. Definitely going to give that a crack. There is a demo, Grizz, actually available on Steam.
Is there? Yeah, I'll go check that out, man. Be interesting.
Yeah, I'm thinking I might do the same. Or to be honest, I think I'm just going to wait until it gets released and just buy it. So it looks like it's coming out on August the 11th. So very freaking cool. All right, moving along. Grizzly Gaming 86. Angerfoot. Feet have become angry. Particularly angry.
Man.
Now, Grizz, have you seen this game before?
Yeah, I have. This also has a demo on Steam. I actually saw JD play it. But Cap, if you've got the little blurb, mate, read it out so the viewers know what we're going to be talking about here for sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, off the Steam page, Angerfoot is a lightning-fast, hard-based blast of kicking doors and kicking ass. Crash through the caffeine-fueled fever dream of Shit City. Putting the boot to a menacing menagerie of merciless gangsters. So it's kind of like a first-person shooter kind of thing, but I guess your melee attack is just literally this big foot just coming out and kicking the shit out of people.
It's this dude with basically a super foot, right? And he's like, and that's what they harp on. There's a cutscene in it where he's sitting there with his girlfriend and she's just cooked him dinner, and then he gets this phone call and it's like they've got his shoe. And he's just like, gets up and he fucking kicks the door down and out he goes. And like, it's just absolutely like classic. But the combat's very stylized, Cap. Very stylized.
Highly stylized. I'm trying to think of what it kind of reminds me of. The characters are kind of, the art style is kind of plasticine-y, but not really. Kind of plasticine meets comic book. It's pretty interesting. I think it's going to be quite funny. Don't know if I'll pick it up, but I'm definitely keen to watch other people play it for sure, Grizz. I quite like some of the animations that have been shown in the trailer. Like you kind of like double kicks, and it like just looks like at one point there's absolutely no feet on the floor. So how is he going to manage to? I don't know. It just looks really weird. But very, very cool.
It's definitely a bit of a comedy action in there for sure.
Absolutely. So I think they're definitely going for the sort of zany, weird comedy, and the main character that has like this balaclava on and like looks like Have you seen that meme of Brendan Fraser with the weird, like the crying eyes? Just kind of reminds me of that. He just looks like he's, not having a great time. But yes, that's another one coming from Devolver Digital that looks quite interesting. And that one is due in 2023. So we got a little bit of time before that one hits the deck. So keep
just
an eye out.
One quick one on that one, Cap. The soundtrack is an absolute banger on this one. That's what drives you through the levels. It's like doof doof the whole time.
Do you know what
like
this game reminds me of, Grizz? You ever play Hotline Miami?
No, I didn't play Hotline Miami. Is it a bit similar to this? Is it?
It reminds me of a first-person version of Hotline Miami.
Okay,
that's what this reminds me of. So if you're a Hotline Miami fan, I think this is probably about because Hotline Miami is kind of top down. Your character's walking through these rooms and like just kicking the shit out of everyone, and mafia mob bosses.
Okay. When he's driving in the car, Cap, he's like smoking on his what's those e-cigarettes? He's driving with his feet. He's driving with his 2 feet on the steering wheel.
Dude, I can appreciate that. Pretty cool. I think it looks funny. I'm definitely going to try and watch someone play through that. I think. But yeah, so there you go. Another game that has been announced, Grizz, is a game called Card Shark. Now, looks really interesting, Grizz. So it actually came out. Coming to Nintendo Switch on June 2nd. So it's already been out for a little while.
This is available now, Cap. You can play this now on Steam.
Apparently. Yeah. So so the game, it has like an art style that kind of is a little bit of reminiscent of like those, not quite to this degree, but those like old medieval tapestry art that you see. Kind of reminds you of that. And it's very, very kind of old diagrammy kind of drawn. It's probably a terrible way to explain that, but just go and check out the trailer if you're listening. What the fuck is Cap talking about? But anyways, the art style is pretty cool. So very drawn, and it looks like it takes place in kind of like a Victorian era casino kind of thing, and you're some kind of you're called a card shark, I guess. So it's an adventure game full of cunning, intrigue, and delectable deceit. Enter a world where you'll need to play your opponents better than you play your cards. So I don't even know if you do an awful lot of card playing in this game, Grizz.
Yeah, there's deceit. You learn cheats and tricks apparently to deceive your things, but and apparently you play through the game, and there's different endings and there's different ways to achieve those endings. So it looks pretty cool, Cap, and the reviews on Steam are going there. Nuts. It's very, very positive at the moment, boasting 90% on the Steam reviews. One thing that caught me when I just wanted to have a quick look to see how this game was kind of received, Cap, but the devs are responding to critical feedback on some of the mixed and negative reviews, looking for ways to improve the game, and there's a couple there that I just. And this is a sign to me that it's a great dev that's managing this game. So someone kind of was complaining about there's tutorial there, but it doesn't explain all the mechanics that you see in the game. And they kind of say, we would like the characters to kind of figure out how to do certain things. However, you've made a good point, and this will be implemented in the next version of the game. And just like bits and pieces, seeing that interaction with these review scores is something that is small dev team to be able to do that. Like, big respect for
absolutely, Grizz,
for sure.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a lot of different stuff going on in the game. So I think majority of it is kind of taking place with this deceptive kind of card games. I believe the beginning of the game you're taken under the wing of an actual card shark, and they're teaching you how to go about kind of they want you to help them win card games essentially. So you're doing things like mini games where you're pouring wine and trying to look at people's cards and give them the rough idea of what the suits and stuff that they have is. So and then also looks like in the trailer, like there's also duels and stuff that you'll be performing. So sword duels and sort of pistol duels in the era of Victorian era. So you can imagine those kind of muskety looking pistol things. So
of the complaints that I saw, Cap, in the reviews, some of them were complaining about the difficulty being quite hard, mate. So that's an interesting one. And I wonder whether you use these. Yeah, I like that. That's when I know that it's a potentially a good game. Dude, Returnal was all like that. I was like, no, this game's too fucking hard, too hard, like no good.
Yeah, weed out
No
the
good.
noobs. But yeah, it looks very, very cool. I like the art style. But yeah, if any of that sounds even vaguely interesting to you at home, go and check out the trailer. Covers a fair bit of the game. It seems like it's sort of so you're not just kind of doing that for no particular reason. I believe the whole idea is that you're kind of trying to find out information about the upper class in that area that you're in, because there's some dodgy shit going on. So you're trying to land them in the shit and some info on these nasty buggers. But yeah, looks very, very cool. Grizz, now here's another game that's coming out from Devolver Digital that I am actually frothing on. It's called The Plucky Squire.
This is the one you're frothing on. The next one that we're going to discuss is the one that I'm frothing on. I bet you know what that is.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly what that is. And I knew you would be frothing on that one, but we'll talk about this one first. So The Plucky Squire, it's kind of a platformer. And what happens is the character's kind of in this book that's like on an actual physical kind of table, and your character's moving around in this book, and the page turns, and then your character's on the next page, and you're moving through these little kind of 2D environments top down. And then halfway through the trailer, your character kind of is off the book and into the 3D world, and you're kind of walking around this environment on this person's desk, and your character's kind of moving around, interacting with these things, and it just looks really cool. I think the way that they've implemented it, I think if I saw a game like this that didn't have both kind of the 2D 3D thing going on, I wouldn't be that interested in it. But if they've got both,
so is there 2D components to this as well, Cap? Like in the actual gameplay, 2D and 3D components of the game. Yeah, right.
So there's 2D. It looks like your character kind of starts off on this book that might act as kind of like a tutorial, and you're kind of walking through. And then your character gets kicked out into the 3D world, and then is walking around in there.
It's worth pointing out, Cap, that so the developer of this game's All Possible Futures that has a guy called James Turner, who was the art director for Pokemon Sword and Shield, which I found interesting. So I don't know whether you saw any Pokemon like that kind of cartoony nature in that trailer at all. I guess maybe a little bit, but yeah,
maybe a little bit. I think maybe I suppose more so just aesthetically rather than the actual art style, and maybe just some of the character design to a degree. But for the most part, if you ask. If I had to try and guess that, I don't think I would have. But I mean, it's an interesting fact about the game. But yeah, man. Looks very, very cool. I think just the way they've presented this with that kind of like, not quite comic book, but like cutesy kind of character walking around, almost Legend of Zelda like kind of top down in the book area, and then moving out into the 3D world, doing kind of platformy kind of stuff, and then also having these elements where he's on a coffee mug for one point where he's kind of just walking around like he would in Mario, like 2D. It's just looks really, really cool. Really, really cool.
It's pretty dang good, eh?
Yeah, I'm quite excited to give this a crack. So when does this come out, Grizzly?
This is going to be on Nintendo Switch, I believe, mate.
PC, Switch, PS5, and this definitely looks like a Switch game for me.
It does. 100%.
I think I'd want to play this on my Switch. You just certain games you're like, I just love to sit in bed and play that.
Dude, this looks so good. The actual storybook nature of it makes it look so nice.
Yeah.
Look, like and the animations and stuff.
The blend between the different like kind of perspectives. You know what I mean? It looks really, really freaking cool. So go and check that out at home if any of the things we said interest you vaguely. But yeah, so there you go. Plucky Squire. Now, the last one on the list here, Grizzler, a game called Skate Story.
Now, Cap, before you dive into this, mate, the artwork of the trailer, what TV series does it look like to
Stranger
you?
Things.
Fucking oath. Have they done that on purpose, do you think?
Absolutely.
Surely. Yeah, they have, haven't they? Like,
yeah, absolutely, mate.
Mirror image of that, hey?
Mate, for the most part, like all the text and stuff is almost exactly the same. Yeah. Like, I tell you what though, the band playing during this trailer, new band of mine that I thoroughly enjoy. Now, what was their name? Blood
Pretty good.
Trails or some shit. I can't remember. I favorited the track because I really enjoyed. It's kind of that Tame Impala kind of thing going.
Cap, there's something about skateboarding games and having a banging soundtrack. They come hand in hand.
Do you know what? That's such a good point. I mean, obviously, Tony Hawk's is the classic example. I mean, I remember, some of the bands from those games, like even Blink 182 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like those were like, that's how you learnt about those bands.
Goldfinger. There was that's those soundtracks. Everyone knew them all. Like,
yeah, absolutely. But you know what, Grizz? Like back in those days, like it wasn't just like spooling up Spotify or YouTube and just listening to your favorite band. Like you were exposed to music in such. Well, I mean, through Rage, in the mornings, or you might hear it on the radio, but like having it via a game was such a novelty, and I think you really kind of the nostalgia factor really pumped it through because it was just like that exposure to music. Obviously, was around you, but like learning new bands was difficult in the sense that a lot of bands didn't get radio time. So having a video game like this to pump out these new bands that you hadn't heard before as a kid, man, holy shit! What a crazy amount of exposure for some bands.
Does it well.
Yeah, but looks pretty cool, Grizz. It's kind of got like a Tron kind of thing going on.
Oh, absolutely! It's so bizarre. I'll read this little blurb so the viewers know what this game's kind of about. So, Skate Story is all about a demon made of glass and pain. That is your main character. That's who you're skating with. Who makes a deal with the devil, with the demon needing to skate to eat the moon to rid themselves of the curse. Now, you'll see things like where you sell your physical souls, and that's what you spend to buy decks and wheels and truck upgrades.
That's fucking cool.
Like skating fresh. There's over 70 skate tricks that you can improve and go as you will. There's trials, there's gear, and there's also demons that you need to destroy with certain tricks. So it's a fucking bizarre game. Cap, would you ever think you would see like a demon Tony Hawk? Because the gameplay.
If you read it to me, I would never have thought it was a skating game. Like if I'd not seen the YouTube or anything, like just that blurb just does not seem like it matches at all. But I tell you what, man, I've never really been a skating game guy. I've never skated in my life because I have absolutely no hand-eye coordination or anything, or foot-eye coordination. So I'm just shit at that kind of stuff. But honestly, like I can see myself playing this. This might be my first skating game of all time.
Get into it, mate. Dude, I was a massive Tony Hawks. I used to skate a lot when I was younger. I'm average now. I always feel like when I skate now, I'm just going to break something if I fall over. But yeah, all the way from one all the way up. Yeah, exactly, dude. And when the remakes came out, I still played those as well. But from the look of this game, honestly, like the way the skater moves and the way that you see him grinding and doing tricks, it looks very Tony Hawk-esque to me. So
absolutely, yeah. I think definitely kind of channeling a bit of Tony Hawk energy, but also putting a really interesting spin on a genre that's never seen any kind of variation in that sense.
Well,
mate.
That's what I was going to say to you, Cap. What do we've got? We've got Tony Hawk's and we've got the Skate 1, 2, and 3 series. And basically anything else that outside of those, I feel like has kind of not been very good. And we've just seen one game that was jank and nothing else came out. So it'll be interesting to see another skating game come into the mix and see whether it's successful.
They've kind of done the same thing of not super the same, but we're starting to have a lot of like golf games come out with RPG elements at the moment. Or we also had like Golf Story on Nintendo Switch that kind of had the golf RPG thing going on. So having RPG elements in kind of more real world sport kind of games, I think is interesting. I mean, it's been done before, I guess. I mean, they have that. Is it Warhammer Blood Bowl? Is that the thing I'm thinking of?
Yeah, Blood Bowl is the sport like gridiron-ish kind of one.
American football, I guess. But cool.
So interesting. Really so the guy's made a glass cap, and one thing you see in the trailer here is when he stacks it, your body just shatters. It's just like
which is that whole demon made of glass thing, right? Which is I like the idea of there being enemies that you have to fight with the skate tricks. I think that's pretty fucking cool.
I'm honestly keen, man. I'll pick this up 100%. I'll give this a crack for sure. It sounds cool. I like the idea. A little bit off center, something that you would never kind of pitch together. Demons and skating and just the kind of way this looks. But we haven't really talked about the art style, Cap, but it's very unique, mate. It's very I don't know, like the colors are all quite dark and brooding, and everything else, and lots of reds, for lack of a better description. But yeah, just a bit,
it's kind of it's almost got like an old videotape thing over the
100%.
top.
Like a VHS kind of vibe.
Hang on, there's a movie with Hasselhoff that is oh god, what was that freaking movie that came out? Movies. It had like a oh fuck's sakes, why can't I think of it? It had sorry?
Baywatch.
No, not Baywatch. It was it was like a weird retro 80s movie that got kickstarted. Someone in chat might not think. Oh, Kung Fu Fury. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, Kung Fu Fury. It kind of looks a bit like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
It got the same kind of like 80s. If you
I know exactly. I'm looking at it right now, dude. It looks very much like that.
Yeah.
Especially the text on the cover album and stuff.
Same kind of aesthetic. So if you've seen Kung Fury, not Kung Fu. Who said Kung Fu Fury?
A Swedish martial arts comedy. That sounds like a weird mixture, dude. A Swedish martial arts comedy.
You don't hear that very often, do you? But it wasn't even a full-length film. It was a featurette. I think it was only like 60 to 70 minutes or something like that.
31 minutes, dude. It was
31 minutes. Yeah, it was quite small.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that movie was like Kickstarter, dude. And like, I think one of the Kickstarter goals was to get David Hasselhoff in it, and they reached the goal. It was just wow, what a weird time. That was in the era of like just all kinds of random shit hitting Kickstarter and getting Kickstarter because it was such a novelty.
Yeah.
But very,
we haven't seen we haven't seen a good. Well, I haven't heard of a big, large scale Kickstarter for a while. Cap, is it? They still?
I think they're happening just outside of our bubble of things. The last one I got involved with was, what has Pav got there? What the fuck is that? Is that an Ouya? Oh my god, it is an Ouya. Gross.
What is that?
It was like the Android gaming console that just fucking died.
Was it kickstarted?
Yeah, my mate has one. Sleepy had one, and he was like, "Mate, this is the next big thing in gaming."
Kazi will pay you fucking $1,000 for that. He fucking loves gaming consoles, mate. I swear. Does it play anything? Does it play anything or not?
Nah. Yeah, it plays on your heartstrings. I think it's about the only thing it does.
I can't quite remember what it plays, but I think you can boot up like a Raspberry Pi on it, and it can be pretty much anything.
I thought the idea was it was supposed to play any game off the Play Store, essentially.
Yeah, essentially, but that's garbage. So you can,
you can. Poor man's Stream Deck, basically.
Pretty much the phone in your hand right now is probably more powerful than that.
100%. That thing is like about almost getting close to 10 years old though as well.
Yeah.
My phone can't even play Diablo Immortal, boys. This Blizzard told me, don't you all have phones? Well, fuck you. I don't have a phone that can run Diablo Immortal. That sucks.
Chris, you have to get a new phone, mate. I'm sick of hearing about you not being able to play Diablo Immortal on your phone.
True.
Not that you want to, but anyways. All right. So, Grizz, we had 5 games. Cult of the Lamb, Angerfoot, Card Shark, The Plucky Squire, and Skate Story. You have to pick 2 to take home with you. What are you taking home with you?
Skate Story, 100%. Yeah. And then I honestly think, dude, Cult of the Lamb looks really fun as my 2 that I would pick. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think they're my standouts. Okay. Before I pick mine, all of them look amazing. I think like equally very, very great freaking video games, and yet more just indie hotness coming from Devolver Digital as a producing studio, or they're not a studio, they're just producers, but still, guys. But yeah, I think I'd be picking Cult of the Lamb for sure. Very excited for that, and I think the Plucky Squire, I'm very, very keen to give that a crack. Something about just the way it changes the perspectives. I just think it looks so cool.
Dude, even Card Shark seems pretty cool as well. Seems pretty fun.
Card Shark does really rad.
I'm just not 100% sold on the art style. Is the only thing that I think is putting me off.
It's definitely not for me. I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think I'd want to stick with it for a long period of time. I'm hoping a few of these come to Game Pass, Grizzo.
Oh yeah, it's a good call.
Because then I won't have to pay for them. But we'll see how that goes. Anyways, all right. So that was the Devolver Digital Showcase, Grizzly. A lot of really cool shit, man.
What do you
Really
give it
cool
out of
shit.
10, Cap? What do you give the Devolver
Honestly,
showcase
dude,
out of 10?
I'm going to give it a solid 9. I think
I'm with
they
you.
like I mean, look, these guys are indie studios. They're pumping well above their weight in terms of the content they're producing. They're doing some really cool stuff with genres. I mean, Skate Story, dude. They're mixing
Yeah, what the
RPG
fuck?
elements with a skating game. Like, who thinks about that kind of shit?
Yeah.
Even the way that Plucky Squire has implemented their perspective weirdness and Cult of the Lamb looks like a really weird kind of base building dungeon crawler fucking thing. It looks
I'll tell
cool,
you what,
man.
Cap, if you were a indie dev right now and you've got someone like Devolver Digital handling your game in terms of PR perspective and everything else, you'd be pretty freaking stoked.
Yeah. Well, I think they're pretty good at picking certain studios that
They've got a
kind of
style.
fit
They
in.
know.
They definitely have a style, dude. I think they're really good at picking certain, just even art style wise, but definitely quality, Grizz. Like these indie games aren't the shit that you see populating the Steam store. Like old mate's gone and put in his game dev project from uni and it's a big pile of shit. But these are really, really good games. So very, very excited.
I actually
for
haven't played Loop Hero yet, Cap.
Oh, Chris, you got to give that a crack.
I should give that a crack, mate. I'm a big
That's
fan
a
of
good
roguelikes
stream
in general.
game, dude, because you don't have to. You kind of, not that you set and forget it, but you kind of don't have to monitor it all that much because it's just going around in a loop and killing shit. And you kind of every now and then you're like, oh, I need to do something.
I need to stream more, mate. Fucking haven't streamed for ages. I need to just get back into it. Just too busy, mate. Too much shit going on.
What's streaming? What the fuck's that?
Yeah, what is it?
What is that? But all right, now, Grizz, we got more stuff to talk about. I would like to talk about the Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary stream. Now, there were a heap of things announced for this. Now, we did have inklings. Well, we didn't really. There was kind of rumors, but nothing major that there was going to be quite a lot of stuff announced. But I definitely didn't expect there to be this much stuff announced. Now, again, this is Final Fantasy VII, the 25th year anniversary celebration stream since they released that game.
It's a long time, dude.
25 years, dude. I was 6 years old when that game came out.
Oh, I think I actually remember when 8 came out. I think that might have been one of the first ones that I played. I remember it had like 5 discs or something on the.
Yeah. Well, Final Fantasy was something like that as well, wasn't it? Like 4 or 5. Yeah, just a different era, Grizz, to be a part of. Putting those different discs into your.
Yeah, if one of them was scratched, you're fucked.
Yes,
one of the four was scratched. Oh, you're no good.
You'd be spewing, wouldn't you? You get all the way to the end, and then the disc just carks it.
It's not like you can order in a replacement disc. You've literally got to buy a whole game again.
Yeah,
bloody
literally. Classic. But look, Grizz, so a bunch of stuff was announced at this 25th anniversary stream. Now, the first huge announcement was that they have formally shown off the trailer for the next. So I'm gonna word this in a certain way, Grizz, and you'll find out why in a second. Okay. This is the sequel to the Final Fantasy VII remake. The sequel.
Yep. It's the sequel. Yep.
Yeah. So it's the sequel to that game. No, it's the sequel.
Okay, what the fuck? It's the next one in line, right?
Well, yeah, it kind of is, but I'm just being a bit of a dick because it seems like, Grizz, what's happening in the remakes is they are taking a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? They're kind of like, they're going off the beaten track with it. With the story, so
they're not just going to make a normal remake all the way through 7.
No,
like
it looks like the story's changing, and there's some stuff online where people are saying because there's a meteor that hits the planet, and maybe that meteor hitting the planet has triggered some kind of time dilation thing, and this is that happening now in the remake. So it sounds like. They're iterating on the
Sounds like
original.
They're just trying to make heaps of money from fucking
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Of course they are. Of course they are. But so essentially what I do like about this is that they're providing some kind of newish take on the story. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of nostalgia anyway because it sort of takes place in environments and areas that are sort of similar from that original game. But look, regardless of all the speculation and this is the second iteration in the remake of the Final Fantasy VII franchise. They're calling it Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, the interesting thing is you kind of see Cloud walking around with Sephiroth walking behind him, which it kind of like, is that Sephiroth, is he really there? Is he a spirit or some shit following Cloud? Or is he now buddy-buddy with Sephiroth? Which, who knows? We don't, this is the thing, we don't really know what's going on because it's all a little bit weird and wonderful now. But you do see visions of Nibelheim that you might remember from the first game. There is a thing in the trailer that says, what is fact and what is fiction? So maybe some weird shit going on that you're trying to go between.
So, Cap, this is not a remake then. You're telling me from what I'm reading here. It looks like
a remake in the sense that they're remaking the game, but they're taking their own direction with the story in certain aspects. So in the trailer, you see a character with black hair that kind of looks loud. Now his name's Zach something or other, and he in the original trilogy he dies before the events of what is going to be Final Fantasy Remake 2.
Cap, is there going to be a lot of people that are pissed off about this that just wanted a Final Fantasy VII remake? Or is this something that
I actually think
player base is embracing?
No. Yeah, I think people probably like the idea that they're not maybe stepping too hard on the toes of the original, if that makes sense. Maybe that they're taking a little bit of a different direction with it, and they're obviously very unapologetic about it. They're like, hey, this is a different thing and it's all happening elsewhere.
I didn't, when I was reading this, I didn't realize this was the case, Cap, and I was actually going to shit on the game a little bit and say, fucking how long is it they're going to draw this game out of the same thing they made 7 years ago, but just a remake? But I take it all back and I say that maybe this is kind of cool because it looks like they're taking a bit of creative freedom here to kind of bend the boundaries, and it's in the Final Fantasy VII world as it was there, but they're kind of twisting bits and pieces. So keep the fans on their toes, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm actually really, really stoked for it, dude. I think it looks pretty interesting. You
played through the first part one, or whatever it is. Are you going to play this one as well, do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I hope it doesn't come into play too much is I played the original Final Fantasy remake, so the Riemann. So this is going to annoy me. Is which remake did you play? 1, 2, or 3? Like it just doesn't make sense. Anyways, remake the first remake, part 1. I played that on my PS4, so there's no save data to carry across onto whatever. So I'm wondering if save data does come into play with this. If they're doing some weird time shit, they might be doing some save data stuff, which would make me a bit sad because I won't have access to that. But the one thing that I'm really interested in, Grizz, is once you sort of get to this part of the game in the original game, it really opens up. It gets quite open world, and you can kind of go to the whole eastern seaboard and run around. So I'm wondering just how much of the game is kind of going to be open, I guess, from that. I mean, there was kind of open worlds areas-ish in the first remake, but I do wonder how much they lean into that with this next sort of sequel.
I remember it, Cap, in I think it was Final Fantasy VII, is you can get like a chocobo and you like ride it around on the map and stuff. Is that 7?
Yeah.
So we're going to see.
Chocobos.
Were there any chocobos in the first remake?
Yes, there was, but I don't think they were rideable.
Okay, better be fucking rideable chocobos, mate. Surely.
Because I mean, the thing is, Grizz, with Final Fantasy games, there's a lot of elements that they reuse between the games, even though the stories aren't related, right? So
chocobos are all the way through, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Like even in Final Fantasy Online, your mounts are chocobos.
Now, Cap, was there a card game in Final Fantasy VII that sat behind? I know there was in 8 and 9. I'm not 100% sure whether there was in 7.
Hang on, FF7 card game. I can't quite fucking remember. If there was, I absolutely didn't interact with it. Oh, I think. Maybe not. I don't.
Maybe that was introduced in 8. That might have been.
No, I think there was definitely one. Triple Triad was in 8. is the one you're thinking of, I think.
Okay,
and then they
Triple
had
Triad,
Tetra
yeah.
Master, which was in 9,
Oh.
which
It
was another
sick.
really good one.
You could get like the god cards and stuff. I feel like The Witcher took a lot from that with Gwent. They were like,
Absolutely. Yeah.
let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought those card games were really cool and quite interesting in the way that you would play them just mechanically. Very, it was very Japanese, just in the way that like the card games ran. Just I kind of had the same reaction to a lot of like, you know, Dark Souls games when I first played them. Like they just seemed absolutely cumbersome and just what the fuck is going on here. But you know, you kind of figured it out just by tinkering and poking around with it. But the worst thing was in number 9 with the Tetra Master, you could actually lose your cards when you lost. So if you didn't know what the fuck you're doing, you could quite easily end up with a deck of nothing, and then you can't even play the card game.
Because the way it works, if you beat someone, you get to take one of their cards that they've played. Is that the way it works? Yeah.
And
that's how you got like the legends and stuff. Yeah, they take the
Yep. So all of a sudden you could have bugger all. But
love it.
But yeah. So anyways, going back to the new Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth trailer. Yeah, you got your same characters. I think you've got is it Aerith talking over the top? Yeah, I think so. But yeah, you basically have someone saying, "Oh, Zach, I thought you died." So yeah, again, kind of leaning into that altered timeline. What's going to happen with the story? Who knows? I'm really keen for it. Looks quite good. The trailer doesn't really do anything particularly interesting, in my opinion. I think the whole trailer was kind of just to sort of be like, guess what, guys? Zach's back. Can you believe it? He's actually in this game. And then everyone's going to go, woo. But the thing is, I wanted to see more about, like, you know,
it's carrying Cloud.
Show me an open world.
They're both looking pretty wrecked. Cap, one thing we haven't covered yet is the release time frame. So I believe this looks to be coming out winter 2023. So we've still got a little wait on this one, babe.
I kind of expected that, Grizz. What about you? I wasn't expecting this any time soon.
Honestly, I went into this with no expectations of when this was coming out, so that doesn't surprise me. Cool.
Now, can't surprise me if I'm not surprised, motherfucker.
Exactly. I don't fucking care about it. I didn't play the first one. I probably won't play this one. But Cap, will you play this on your PC or will you play this on your PlayStation 5?
Well, that is a very good question because will it come out on PC and PS5 at the same time? Obviously, Final Fantasy Remake Part 1, that came out staggered, so PlayStation and then PC later. I would probably like to play it on my PC since I've got a sick graphics card in that and probably look more PS5. But yeah, look, I don't know. Probably we'll end up playing it on PlayStation because it'll come out on that first, and then that's just where I'll play it, baby. But yeah, looks interesting. Pretty keen to see more. I would love a bit more detail on what is actually going with just. Do they have an open world? Because that would be sick. I'm guessing probably not, because the way that they implemented battles in that game is, well, I suppose they could do the Pokemon thing where, in Arceus, where they kind of just had Pokemon just littered throughout the area and you just kind of walked into them and had a battle. But I don't know. Another thing I kind of miss from the other games, Grizz, is, well, the newer iterations, the combat's very action oriented, and you're kind of using your moves as they pop up. Whereas in the other games, the olden days, it was a bit more turn based. And I kind of would love to go back and play Final Fantasy VII Remake like that if there was a mode to do it. Apparently,
you would like to play it turn based, would you, Kat?
Yeah, I would. I'd like to go back and do it turn based.
Yeah, right.
If that was an option. Now, people will tell you that there is an option to do that. There's not. It's called classic mode, and it basically just stops you from being able to do some basic moves to make the game easier. That kind of almost seems like turn-based, and it's not really. It just makes the game boring as fuck. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll iterate on that. Who knows? Yeah. Anyways, so that's that. All right. Other stuff that they announced, Grizz. Now they announced. So, okay. When I saw the fucking name of this next item, I had to read it about 5 different times because I was like, what the fuck is going on with this title? The title is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Okay? So, what is this? It's a remake of the PSP game Crisis Core that starred Zack, the guy who's in the new Final Fantasy Remake trailer, who was supposed to have died by that stage of the game. He is the lead character of this particular game. He also wields a Buster Sword like Clouds, who's got the big cool Mad Dog sword. That's kind of what these guys. They're from the same soldier outfit, so they kind of have similar arms. But yeah, this is a full remaster. It says full remaster of the PSP original game, but it looks like it's got it uses the new Final Fantasy VII engine. So that was a little bit confusing.
This is essentially a prequel to Final Fantasy VII in general, isn't it? The story carries on from this into Final Fantasy VII. Is that what happens?
Yes. Well, yeah, exactly. So yeah, this is like the prequel story that has some information. But it looks like it plays very similarly to the Final Fantasy
I did not know
remake.
this game existed, Cap, and maybe that's because I never owned a PSP or already looked into any of the games on the PSP. So this is interesting. It's like I wonder if there's a lot of people like me that didn't know this existed in Final Fantasy universe, and they're gonna get a brand new freshie to play on their current gen console.
Yeah, which is cool. It really looks like they're leaning super hard into the Final Fantasy VII, I guess, extended universe, dude. So it looks like they wanted to, in their new games, kind of, they had movies that came out after Final Fantasy VII was released, like, for example, Advent Children. Looks like they want to include content from that into some of their future games as well, including these 2 new iterations, or at least stuff that happened in those games or alludes to the things that happens in there. But yeah, so, I mean, anyways, getting back to Crisis Core, prequel story. Looks like it uses the same kind of game engine as Final Fantasy VII. And yeah, looks pretty cool. I think I'll probably give this a crack. This looks a little bit more, I don't know, almost turn-based-ish, but not really. It still has the action JRPG combat that the Final Fantasy VII remake had, but it looks pretty good. It does look to me like the graphics have been toned down a little bit.
Yeah, they look a little bit not great. Some of that.
Yeah. Some of it looks a bit garbo.com, but it's all right.
Now, Cap,
yeah, mate.
We're in the age of remakes, mate. Can you I just want to get someone to get a figure of how many games we have seen a remake for in the last year, because it's just getting out of hand. They just keep coming. They keep on coming and they don't stop coming. Yeah, every game.
Every single game's getting a remake, mate. Okay. Even Croc.
Cap, I bet you $150 that we're going to hear about a Chrono Trigger remake before the end of the year.
Dude, I would fucking froth on that personally. And I'm telling you right now, there is a game called is it Sea of Stars? Sea of Stars that is coming to. Okay. It's an indie game that was kickstarted, and it is highly reminiscent of Chrono Trigger. I think the whole idea was that they wanted to create their own kind of Chrono Trigger-ish game. It's kind of got that same battle style where you're walking through the world and then all the enemies just sort of jump in and then you're in a turn-based battle. It looks very good.
Dude, it looks amazing. The art style looks like a new age Chrono Trigger kind of vibe.
It looks really nice. So I'm very keen for that. I have no idea when that's supposed to come out. This is saying Nintendo Switch Holiday 2022, but it's made by the same guy, Messenger, which is a kind of ninja side scroller thing. But yeah, also the Chrono Trigger composer has jumped on board to do some of the music for that game. But
yes.
So
that's one of the best things about that game is that just the soundtrack is so fucking good.
Crisp, tasty, just a delectable morsel, full mouth feel. It's beautiful. You want to get in there. But so Crisis Core coming, I think Crisis Core is coming this year, Grizz. I believe Crisis Core was this year, and then Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 was next year. Now, so this is coming to, basically all consoles and Steam this winter. Not Epic Games, apparently. Someone's gonna
I think I did have something to say about that. No, it wasn't this one. Yeah, it's interesting, dude. Well, it's on the next. It's actually on the next one we're going to talk about, but which originally came out on Epic Games Store and was buggy mess apparently. So I wonder whether they've kind of gone.
That's right. I remember about this. Yeah. So Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Now, Intergrade is the DLC episode for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1. Dude, if I go back and listen to this segment, it's just going to be a fucking amalgamation of me saying the word Final Fantasy VII over and over again with different fucking prefixes and suffixes to that particular little thing. Anyway,
this is the first remake game, Final Fantasy.
This is the
VII they're talking about
Final
here.
Fantasy Remake 1, Part 1.
Okay. Gotcha.
So they released a DLC episode called Integrate, which had a character called Yuffie who normally comes into the story much later.
Right.
But they follow her story within the same sort of time window of what's going on in the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1. So now this is now available on Steam. So
hey, baby. Yep.
Now tell me more about this buggy mess, Grizz, because I vaguely remember something about this.
So I just read this here before that this was released on PC. Disappointing results as the game was marred with technical issues when it was released on the Epic Games Store. Patches have since been released since then to mitigate the issues, but hopefully the Steam release will indeed be the optimized version of the game with 0 to fewer bugs and glitches. So I'd imagine that that's something that might happen. It is also discounted at the moment, Cap 29% off.
Okay. What price is that AUD? I wonder.
Can have a quick little search. Perhaps
some amount of dollars. I believe Zach might show up in this particular one. Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought I saw him in the. I did. He was in. I'm pretty sure he's in the trailer. So yeah, guys, Zach's in this one. Pretty fucking cool. But it's got all the other guys in there as well. So Cloud and stuff show up, and you're fighting Reeves and all this other shit. So yeah, I mean, if you don't know much about Final Fantasy VII,
did you play this bit, Cap? The Integrate?
I didn't know. Yeah. So I played Final Fantasy VII Remake when it first came out. And this came out a fair bit after that. And I just didn't want to go back in the whole game just to play this content. But maybe you don't have to. I don't know. So I'll have to have a look. Not a full bottle on that. But there you go. Now, Grizz, they also announced a bunch of new shit coming to their weird mobile game that is available on mobile devices.
Cap, did you know this game existed?
Yes.
Okay. I did not.
It is a mobile battle royale set in the Final Fantasy VII universe, and it is just fucking bizarre. It's basically they're trying to go for the PUBG thing, but with Final Fantasy flair. What I understand about the game is the game actually plays okay and is all right. It just didn't get the same kind of critical response as a lot of those other battle royales like your PUBGs and your everything else. I don't know. It's just fucking bizarre.
Well, this is the Final Fantasy VII, the old cash grab here, Cap, as we like to say it. Yeah. Loot boxes in this one, and apparently did you know this?
No,
did you know this? Didn't. So Final Fantasy Ever Crisis is a mobile game with loot boxes. Chapters can be free to select from the timeline, allowing players to jump between different entries of the series. The battle system draws upon battle system.
Hang on, are you talking about the first soldier?
Hang on, I'm reading something else. Sorry, mate. Fuck that up.
You're talking about the next one.
Yes,
the first soldier is the battle royale thing.
Oh, okay. Yes, so no loot boxes in this. No loot boxes. That's
but there might be loot boxes. I haven't played this particular thing.
Okay.
So have you got the trailer for the first soldier there, Grizzo?
I do, mate. I do. Yeah.
Yeah, have a bit of a look at that. It is very bizarre. It's got kind of like the PUBG kind of thing going on, the first-person shooter battle royale thing. Just I don't know. It just looks like a mobile game and looks like you probably have to pay money to maybe do things. I don't know, my friend. But yeah, so there's that one. Now, Grizz, let's move on to the one that you were talking about, Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, which is another mobile game.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, tell us a bit more about this one, Grizzo.
Well, Cap, it's essentially a strict remake of the PS1 classic following the exact same sequence of events, I believe. The only difference is the presentation, so it's got kind of a new art style. Chibi style, chubby hands, kind of looks, I don't know.
Do you know what? I would argue that the art style is actually pretty similar, just like they've upgraded it. Does that make sense? Because if you think about the old PS1, like the characters kind of looked like this, just lower res.
They did. They're very polygony, weren't they? Very polygony.
Yeah. But we need to say, Grizz, so when you're walking through the overworld and doing stuff, you're in that kind of graphic mode. But then when you're going into battles, you are in the full Final Fantasy VII Remake quality. All the characters look really, nice. And but it looks like it follows turn-based combat, Grizz.
Yes. So this is on mobile. It's a very good point to point out here. It is on mobile, but yeah. So is it turn-based, Cap, or is it kind of the?
It looks turn-based to me.
Yeah, right.
So they're taking like it's a very if you're at home and you're listening to this, go and check out the trailer on YouTube. It goes between the story segments and walking around the overworld in that kind of chibi Final Fantasy VII art style, but then it kind of all of a sudden it goes into the battle sequences that are like full resolution. Everyone looks like they're straight out of the Final Fantasy VII remake. So pretty interesting.
Now this one has loot boxes, Cap. So Ever Crisis is free to play, but it'll offer loot boxes that offer random selections of weapons and costumes. So hearing that random selection of weapons makes you think maybe potentially some pay to win elements in there.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Mobile gaming though, we talked about this last time, Cap.
They get a free pass, don't they?
It's where the money is, mate, and they get a free pass to monetize the way that they will.
Yeah, and people will complain about it, but effectively do nothing. So what do you fucking do, mate? It's just going to happen. All right, now, Grizz, that was pretty much everything in the Final Fantasy VII 25th anniversary stream. There was actually a Buster Sword alarm clock, but I'm not going to go too deep into that. They just announced a really fucking cool alarm clock, so go and check that out. We were going to show you a picture of it, but we're not showing screen share tonight, so sorry.
Just really quickly, that Buster Sword alarm clock, $200, Cap. That's like
$200.
I don't know whether that's
Jesus Christ,
US or Aussie, mate. That's like 130 export cans, mate. You could be
holy fucking shit, dude. That's nuts. Okay, well, there you fucking go. All right, now, Grizz, moving along to the next story. Bethesda Starfield details slowly is trickling out. Now, there's a lot of stuff that has sort of hit the interwebs. I think a lot of people kind of heavily scrutinizing that trailer that came out, Grizz, and maybe Bethesda sort of trying to drop a little bit of information to try and I don't know, just save a little bit of face on what I think. And we kind of briefly spoke about this earlier before we started the episode, Grizz, but on my second look of that trailer, the combat looks fucking average.
I was telling you this on the first one, and 100% agree, mate. It doesn't.
I'm a little bit worried about this game, Grizz. I'll be honest with you.
I don't know, dude. I was thinking about this after the fact, and there's either a few things going on. The combat's either not very well designed, or the player is either very over-leveled for that area, or they just haven't quite optimized the combat yet, because it just does look very clunky.
Dude, Bethesda's generally like the kings of showing off epic gameplay trailers. So I kind of feel like if they've shown this off, I just think it's poor implementation of the system, and it just looks shit. Like the character is fighting aliens on this planet, and it just looks like lasers, like just firing from your gun, and no real feedback or anything. Like your character's just
not reacting
running
to the shots when you're hitting them, and they're just kind of like
it just looks really a bit. It looks a bit janky, honestly. I'm definitely getting Fallout in space vibes for sure.
What's the media on it, Cap? I actually haven't looked at this yet. Is there people saying similar stuff,
dude? I think it's pretty mixed. I think a lot of people could it sort of echo chambered kind of the stuff that we were saying the other week about 1,000 planets. Well, how the fuck are you going to put any meaningful content on all 1,000 of those planets? And to be honest, Bethesda did come out and say, hey, look, there is a lot of those planets that are just, there's nothing on them, and you're just going to go on there and harvest them for resources. So they did note that that's the case.
That sounds a bit shit, to be honest.
Well, yeah. I mean, it kind of has that Mass Effect 1 thing where, I don't know if you ever played that game, Grizz, but, some of the planets you go onto were just a fucking rock ball that had nothing on them. And, you do a little bit of mining and it was off you go to the next one. But, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. But, look, one thing that I wanted to bring up, Grizz, and I'm very interested to hear your take on this, and it has heavily divided the gaming community. Oh, God, how will they ever piece together their relationship, Grizz? Dialogue in Starfield is first person and your character does not have a voice. How do you feel about
that? It depends, I feel, Cap. I think if there is so much dialogue in the game that it can't be voice acted, but there's like never ending different dialogue opportunities and ways for you to speak, then that might be acceptable if there's that much content. But to me, that's just like it's a design flaw because you're gonna. I don't know. I feel like you need to be able to get into the story a bit and hear what your character's saying and have a response back to you. There was another game that did this. Was it Mass Effect? I don't think did Mass Effect have your own character's
Mass Effect
dialogue?
had voiced characters. But Chris, I mean, how many Legend of Zelda games have come out with a voiceless protagonist?
They don't have, they all just say like little. That's what they sound like, mate.
Well,
mate. The Nintendo 64 couldn't do voices, could it?
Yeah, but mate, they've had Twilight Princess that was out on Wii U and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I actually don't think this is a bigger deal as people think it is. You know, like, did Fallout 1, Fallout 3 didn't have voiced dialogue by the player character, and that survived just fine. I actually think, Riz, this might be a way for the developers to focus more on crafting actual decent quests. Well, I hope at least.
Imagine, Cap, if you've got 10,000 different options of speaking to NPCs in that game, you're not going to be able to voice line all those. There's no way. So actually, then when
I was just going to say, Caging Runt has brought up a really good one, Grizz. Elden Ring doesn't have a voiced protagonist. Pav is fucking cursing the ground that we walk on.
That is very true. You never say anything though, do you? Do you even like?
Well, people are talking to you. It's like, tarnished one, will you cometh with thine to the big tree atop of the mountain, please? And then your character just goes.
Now you've gone and fucking ruined it. No, I see your point. Maybe you don't. It depends on how the dialogue is.
Look, ultimately, Grizz, this purely comes down to the execution of the game itself. If the game is boring as shit, it won't matter whether the person's dialogued or not. I mean, look at Fallout 4. In my opinion, probably one of the most fucking boring Bethesda games of all time.
Yeah. Well, I imagine the dialogue going like
that was completely voiced.
For some reason, Cap, and I don't know why this is, but I'm picturing it that you choose dialogue options, and that's how I kind of picture this game being. It's not going to be Elden Ring where you don't fucking choose your dialogue options. The dialogue's either there or not, depending on how you've progressed your story. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think you'll actually design. I don't know. I can't tell. If that's the case, and you've got heaps of different dialogue options, then so be it. But yeah, I mean, it's not like a story game, right? Cap, this is going to be open space exploration. You can't expect them to voice everything in there.
I would have thought so. I would think that there would be a fair bit of voiced content and a fair bit of non-voiced content. So it'll be interesting to see how that gets implemented. But I mean, they've done it before; they will do it again, mate.
They're looking for a couple of voice actors, Cap. I reckon you could do a couple of the alien voices and bits and pieces, mate.
I'll be a ripper. I'll be an absolute ripper. But look, also to sort of add to this is Todd Howard was kind of probed a bit further, hopefully not physically, but just verbally. He said it will be obvious which planets were handcrafted in sort of relation to the idea that there's going to be thousands of planets. You know,
because they don't
and
look like shit, Cap. Or,
I would assume that they just aren't fucking shit.
So, I would imagine the story and like quests and stuff would be pushing you in the way. And I can't remember what the game was. It might have been Mass Effect, but you had the ability to scan the planet to see what's on it, whether you want to go there or not. So maybe you scan it and then you find missions, or it might just be resources.
Might be a similar thing. I mean, in the story trailer, there is some stuff about artifacts scattered throughout the universe, and you're trying to unlock the secrets of those artifacts. I bet you they'll just be on random planets.
I will say, Cap, that Starfield is slowly growing on me a little bit. I mean, the trailer was a little bit like some of the combat stuff looked a bit shit, but
the combat looks fucking garbo.com.
I will say my expectations were low going into this.
Yeah, I got to be honest, I was kind of in the same boat. I mean, I will probably give it a crack still, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Who knows, Grizz? Look, another point I wanted to bring up, Grizz. Main story apparently about 30 to 40 hours long.
Okay.
Not bad. So not huge, not tiny. You know, just right, as the Goldilocks said. You know. So
That's what Elden Ring would be, main story, probably 30, 40 hours, I reckon, if you didn't.
You might say that the storyline's in the Goldilocks zone. Little space joke for you out there, if you know anything about that.
I don't know what you're talking about, mate. No.
Well, the Goldilocks zone is the zone in which Earth persists. It's it's not too hot, not too cold. It's just right. And it's just the perfect temperature for life to begin. Anyways, there you go. A little bit of science for you.
It was Earth in the Goldilocks zone, Cap, is it?
It is. So when they're doing space and they're doing astronomy stuff, they look for other planets that exist in Sun's Goldilocks zone. So other suns in other galaxies and all that kind of shit. So
aren't we lucky, mate? Aren't we bloody lucky? You know what they're not accounting for there, Cap, is the aliens that love really hot environments and burning their faces off that aren't in the Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, I don't want to meet those ones, actually. I prefer not to. But yeah, hopefully we won't meet them in Starfield either. Now, Grizz, there's going to be 4 main cities. Now, the kind of shit that I've been getting from, like, in terms of aesthetic for a lot of this kind of stuff is they've kind of got the Fallout weird shit going on with some of the aesthetics. So Howard confirmed there are only 4 main cities, the biggest of which is New Atlantis. It's home to the main Constellation faction, which Howard describes as NASA meets Indiana Jones meets the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. So they're trying
surely
to
if it's called Atlantis, it's got to be underwater, Cap, surely.
I'm going to give you a hot tip right now, Grizz. As far as I can tell, it is very much not underwater. In fact, it looks like it's on a fucking moon. So, yeah, probably not. Maybe maybe there's a tsunami or something that hits it. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, Grizz, is I actually think the best part of the combat is what looks like the ship combat.
Yeah, the flying and fighting.
I think the flying actually looks better than the actual, on ground combat. So, bit fucking scary, Grizzler. But yeah, hopefully they can tighten that up. Now, Grizz, one thing I've got in my notes, dude. So with this in the space combat, now it has been confirmed that there's no player input for you to land and then take off and then move your ship out beyond the planets. There's a loading scene between you wanting to leave a planet and go into space.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
You don't fly yourself out of the planet. You just kind of say,
you
take
kind
me
of
out.
go take off, and then your ship goes.
See, one thing that I thought was amazing about No Man's Sky was that I quite liked that
seamlessness.
You fly out, and all of a sudden you're out in the space and looking around and stuff.
Look, I don't think it bothers me that much and I think the thing is, I know how much of a development undertaking implementing something like that would be. It would be such a pain in the ass to develop that seamless planet thing in and out. So I think they've just gone, nah, fuck that. We're just going to not do that. So an interesting one. Now, another thing I had in my notes here, Grizz, was so I reckon they don't have any kind of procedural alien creation, right? Like No Man's Sky does, where it randomly conjures different aliens onto your planet. So I reckon there's going to be shared species across planets. Now, Grizz, I'm not a fucking xenobiologist, but how the fuck are they going to explain aliens getting between different planets when they're literally just like cows and shit? Like alien cows.
Yeah. Genetic isolation, Cap's a big thing, man. Do you know you get genetic isolation just on different continents on one planet?
Yeah, dude. A literal mountain range can cause it.
Imagine fucking 2 planets across the galaxy. I mean, they might have some explanation, Cap, where like a Moses spaceship keeps filtering animals across the planet.
Moses spaceship. Give me 2 of your finest space cows.
To allow
give me one of those crabs as well.
To allow a little bit of genetic crossover between the planets. But yes, I definitely hear you, dude. That is not a good lore point. That's interesting, man.
I don't know if that's going to happen for sure, Grizz. Maybe there will be unique creatures on each planet, but I doubt it. Anyways, we'll see what happens.
Well, it's not a very realistic game anyway, Cap, is it, mate? Come on. It's fucking...
What the fuck, mate? How dare they? But yeah, all right. Well, I think that kind of covers what we wanted to kind of talk about for No Man's Bethesda. All right.
Absolutely.
Now, Grizz, we had the poll last week. Now, going in with the news of yesterweek being all of Final Fantasy VII news that hit the waves. We wanted to know who people's favorite Final Fantasy waifu / husbando was. And the options we gave were Cloud, Sephiroth, Tifa, and Aerith. Now, guys, if you want to vote on next week's OGR poll, you can do so by going to our Twitter at twitter.com/OGR show and go and follow the page. And then you should see when we post our next one, generally on a Saturday or a Friday, sometimes a Sunday if we're especially lazy. But anyways, so Grizz, did you want to go through the results for this particular poll?
Sure, mate. Cloud copying a 9.1%. Sephiroth with a 9.1%. Even with Cloud, Tifa taking the victory with 63.6%. I voted Tifa Cap. She's gorgeous. And Aerith with 18.2% of the vote. Who did you vote there, Cap? Who was your...
Dude, I mean, I voted for Tifa, but if Jessie was in the run, 100% would have voted for Jessie.
Did Jessie have a dog?
No.
Am I remembering this correctly?
Oh, she had a cat, I think.
In 7?
There's parts in 7 related to Jessie that don't happen in the original game. She's got way more personality in the remake than she does in the original, by the as well as a start. But I just thought she was like just had like cool mum vibes. I don't know. I just thought she was fucking rad. But yeah, she is 100% my fucking pick for sure. Caging Runt in the chat wants to know why he couldn't vote for Red 13, who is the dog.
He's the dog, yeah.
Who is the dog? But yeah, so there you go, guys. If you want to vote in the next one, make sure you go to our Twitter and follow us there. Now, Quickfire, Grizz, let's fucking make our way through this. We haven't got an awful lot of time left. Pav, how much time we got left?
4 minutes.
4 minutes, quick it.
Watch me. All right, Grizz, first things first, we had the Dragon Dogma. So Dragon's Dogma is an old kind of Dark Souls-ish sort of game. It involved a lot of big bosses that you would climb upon, similar to that game that's not coming to my mind right now that was on PlayStation. But anyways, they had a 10th anniversary stream on Thursday, last Thursday.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Shadow of the Colossus. They have the Shadow of the Colossus thing where you climb across the beast and poke at it with your tiny little toothpick of a sword. Anyways, so they had a 10th anniversary stream for that game. And during that stream, they announced Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, I didn't play number 1. I tried to get it once. It's just too old. It looks like fucking shit.
I was playing Dragon's Dogma online for a while, Cap.
Online? What the hell?
Definitely not using a VPN. I was definitely where I was supposed to be playing that video game because you can't play it in Australia. So I was definitely not using a VPN.
Flew over to Japan for a couple of months.
Yes.
Played the game, came back.
Curdy and I played it, and it was actually really fucking good, dude. As far as an MMO goes, yeah, very, very fun. So
I'm actually really looking forward to another iteration of that because I think it basically has everything I want in a game, but I just wasn't there at the right time, so I couldn't really capitalize on that. But so there you go. All right, Grizz. Next thing I wanted to talk about is the Lord of the Rings: Return to Moria. It's a new game that was announced recently. We didn't get a chance to talk about it last week during our big Summer Games Fest rundown, but it's basically Lord of the Rings Valheim, which is, for those at home that have no idea what we're talking about, kind of that survival Vikings game that came out to PC, highly critically acclaimed. Lord of the Rings Return to Moria, essentially you're a bunch of dwarves and you're going into the mines of Moria and you're freaking finding shit in there, making your own gear and fighting things and do it, rinse, repeat.
Cap, I know we've got to be quick, but I think this is going to be a raging success. And you know why I think it's going to be a raging success?
Why?
Because mining games are fucking popular.
Yeah.
People love mining down and finding stuff. This has mining and crafting in it. It's like a Minecraft, but you're a dwarf and you have to survive. It sounds freaking awesome.
I'll tell you what'll kill this game, Grizz.
What's that?
If they don't have a Balrog in it.
Ooh, I reckon they will, dude. I reckon there's a high chance there's going to be
a Balrog in it. I actually will not play this game. I'm telling you right now. All right. Okay. Leave it at that. Moving along to the next one on here. Sony puts Tekken 2 up for sale for $9,999.
Do you reckon anyone bought it by accident? Like a kid on the App Store or something? Like, whoops.
Oh, there must have been one accidental, surely. Just some absolute, like, they call it on mobile games, they call these people whales. and they're just people with a shitload of money that just spend shitloads of money on these games. So maybe a whale just came on there and just went
prince that just really wants to like.
No, literally, that's the kind of people that do this shit.
Oh man,
yeah. So it's kind of nuts. But yeah, so
now what was it supposed to be? $99?
I think it was $9.99 or something.
Oh yeah.
Because it was, it's Tekken 2. It's not a full price game. So, oops. But yeah, all right, moving along, Grizz. Sony is working on a PS5 Pro controller. So that's kind of going to sort of be in line with, I guess, Xbox has its own Pro controller.
Switch Pro has Switch Pro.
Yep, Switch Pro controller, exactly. So now it's going to be coming out with its own kind of thing. So according to the report, it keeps the classic PS5 style, which shows a few key differences. One of the biggest changes is the buttons under the analog sticks, which will allow you to completely remove the analog sticks and their components, which is, I mean, I don't know why you'd ever want to do that. But it's an option.
Scungies in it. Cool. Okay.
Actually, yeah, it could be. Being able to replace the stick unit in one fell swoop will be good for those who will eventually come to suffer from stick drift. I mean, surely you just buy a new fucking controller when that happens. But yeah, anyway, so you can do that. Also, will feature removable grips and a few other surprises. Probably will have those back buttons like the paddles on the back of the controller, I dare say. Seems like they're the new hotness as well. So, yeah, that looks quite interesting. All right, moving along as well, Grizz. I whacked this one on today. So the new PlayStation Plus tiers are coming this week for Australia, I believe Wednesday or Thursday. I think they're going to be migrating accounts across sort of during Wednesday and should be finished by Thursday. So if you're in Australia, you should have that ready to go soon. So get back and excited, my friends. Very, very freaking cool. Now, the last one I wanted to bring up, Grizz, something very interesting. Now, where the fuck did I post that?
Is this the Diablo Immortal?
No. I forgot about that one. Well, you can bring that in if you like.
Fuck it. We can skip that one. We're running out of time. Go, your one. Go.
The only one. Now, this is a tiny one. It was a cocktail that I saw pop up on Facebook called Let Me Solo Her. It's a reference to the Elden Ring person who went in and was fighting bosses for certain people. Now, the ingredients of this cocktail for the Let Me Solo Her is red wine and Kahlua.
Oh,
I don't know.
Well,
who
interesting.
fucking decided that?
Because Melania, I feel like her attacks are red and brown.
Yeah.
Very red.
Yeah, it's kind of like a grotty, like a real grotty. Well, because
what do you serve this on? Do you serve this on
Melania's,
ice? I don't know.
I guess it's just as is. Melania's kind of like, she's the goddess of rot, right? And I guess that those two things together kind of evokes the idea of rot to me. So I think they're pretty much spot. So yeah, very interesting. Now, Grizz, that's pretty much all we've got time for, unfortunately, mate. We did have to wrap this bad boy up. I would just firstly like to thank everyone in the Twitch chat today for hanging out whilst we recorded this session. If you would like to join us during the, you can do so by jumping in on Monday nights, Australian Western Standard Time at about 7 p.m. We record every Monday, unless otherwise specified on Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter to keep up to date. Just go to twitter.com/OGR show and you'll find us there. We've also got a Discord. If you're listening on all your podcast platforms, just go into the link description. You'll find all of our social media stuff, including the Discord. We're also posting in the Twitch chat right now as we speak. Go in there and join up and come and say g'day. You'll find the latest updates from us and all the other good shit. Now, what else did I have to say? Just want to also thank Patrons again. Thank you so much for supporting us financially. We really bloody appreciate you. Sukai, Moosey, Ho and Honey, Caging Runt, and Sergeant Paul, you guys fucking rock. And as every week, I'm going to keep saying it, go and tell one friend about this podcast. Just one, not two, just one, okay? Take you 2 fucking seconds. Just say, hey, you heard these guys yet? And they'll be like, nah. And then you'll be like, well, go and check them out. And then share them a link. And that's pretty much the conversation. You don't even have to know them. You could be some fucking random on the street. Just literally anyone. Just please tell someone. But yeah, help us. Help us help you help us. Okay? If that makes any sense.
You know what, Kat? Go and share it on your personal Facebook. That's the way to do it.
Actually, honestly, if you guys do enjoy this podcast, go and fucking share it on your Facebook or some shit. do something crazy like that, and your grandma's gonna be like, "What's this, fucking Jimmy?" Yeah, oh,
OGR.
oh, gee, what? But yeah, fuck yeah. But yeah, guys, thank you again for being here. We bloody appreciate you. We appreciate all the support. We've had really good stats recently. And again, 20th episode today. You can expect another episode next week, Monday. And till then, we're going to say goodbye. And hang on, Pav's giving me the finger.
I just wanted to say audio issues were in this episode as well as last episode. I think I have figured out what the issue is. So hopefully I can fix it by next week. So bear with us and thank you for enduring.
Absolutely. I mean, this podcast is definitely iterative. I think in 20 episodes, we've come a seriously long way anyway.
Absolutely.
But we hope that you guys will stick with us until we can get this podcast real fucking crispy for you. All right. Content and all. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the podcast and enjoy the next one next week. Take care. And thank you, Mother, for the rabbits. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Cap, I reckon your voice sounds different. Have you got your right mic on and are you using the right settings? I noticed it about 10 minutes in and I was like, Cap sounds different this week.
I haven't even asked for it yet, Kazi.
Has it? I don't know. Did it sound bad or good?
It sounded good to me.
Does it? Okay, yep. I just reckon it doesn't sound as fucking crisp as last week.
As crisp.
But I
did have that issue with my computer resetting. So maybe it's fucked off some of my settings. I'll have to have a look and play around with it.
Oh, yeah. Hey, one thing that I thought I'd bring up, Cap, I don't know if you've seen this. Someone has modded V-Rising to bring down the camera angle so it's behind your character, and it looks like...
I did see that.
Did you see that? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks interesting. I do hope they support that in some way, like actually, but who knows?
G'day, chat legends. Kazi, how are you, mate?
Kazi, you legend.
Sergeant Paul, g'day, mate. So we got a new caging runch. Fuck yeah, snap.
The Runtus Rex.
Snap.
Now.
Sukai.
I sure
Jim.
Say.
Oh, God.
Red Trainer. All you bloody legends.
I think the stream's shit the bed.
Yeah, sorry. I tried to open Premiere. I'm just going to close it.
Are you going well? You going well, Cracker?
I thought maybe I could start editing while we're recording.
I've been playing...
well, we'll try and wrap it up so you can get into it.
Yeah, we'll fucking wrap it up. I've been playing Fall Guys with Joyce on the old PC, Cap.
Oh, that's
Loves
cool.
it, mate.
That's cool.
All over it.
Yeah, mate. I've done my hours caging. Now, what was I going to say? Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. You guys fucking rock. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, honestly, our numbers have been looking really good, guys. But in all places and all the right spaces.
We're about to hit 700 listens or plays.
Yeah. Yep. So across all of our episodes, which is pretty fucking cool. So
unreal. I think so.
Any title suggestions today, boys?
Yes, I do need a title suggestion.
What did we look at today?
What do we got?
We had
Final Crisis Fantasy remake sequel prequel core.
How about something else?
How about Buster Sword Alarm Clock?
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah. Buster Sword Alarm Clock. Yeah. That's good, dude.
I'm penciling in that. Any other suggestions? Whose idea was that? Was that one of you?
Elden Ring back in town.
You enjoyed that one, Kazi? Yeah, that was a good one, mate, wasn't it? I like that one. It was a winner. The music is back, mate. We got the music back. Pav sorted his shit out.
Yeah, we're kind of moving to a different well, we have been doing it the last few episodes, a different like recording service basically. So we're kind of constantly iterating on the product to try and find the best way to record this remotely, obviously. So, and also slowly working on things like Captain Perth's microphone, which just, continuously requires work.
It sounded perfect to my ears, but Grizz is the one who you want.
I think you're missing I can't hear the compression like you had last week. I don't know.
Okay.
Have a look. See, do you remember the settings you had?
Not particularly. I'm just going to fuck around with it.
Fuck around with it, mate. G'day, Nibs.
Hey, Nibbles.
Hey.
3 people up.
All right, now we need to
people up, baby.
find a target.
Great target. Are we sticking with Buster Sword Alarm Clock, of which we talked about all of maybe 10 seconds?
Yep.
Okay.
Buster Sword Alarm Clock is expensive.
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to include is expensive? Or just Buster Sword Alarm Clock?
I think Buster Sword Alarm Clock ! Question mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
I like it.
And can we host Raikou?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Who's Raikou? Yeah, get him in.
You know Raikou.
He's a Perth
Raikou?
dude. He speedruns Digimon. He's a fucking legend.
I've never met Raikou. I've never met Raikou, dude. Ever.
Really good dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, baby. Digimon.
You happy to set that up, Cap? Whenever you're ready.
Right. How do we do the OGR fucking thing?
It is Smork. SM Orc. I don't know where that's
SM
from.
Orc?
Is SM a game that is related? Is it Smite? No.
Oh, there we go.
Where's that from?
Isn't that a WoW orc? I don't know.
It looks like a WoW Orc, but I also haven't really played.
Grade.
Ah, shit. Yeah, perfect, Grizz. You're way faster than I am. I'm fucking around trying to get the thing going. All right, guys. Freaking copy and paste this shit in there. We're going to go and jump over in there. Make sure you go and drop Raikou a follow. And, yeah, we'll see you next time.
Love you guys.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Speak soon.
Cap, I think you got to click it on your end.